You know what sucks about virtual drifting is lag. Lag that's not even your fault. And in this video, we're going to go into a bit of detail about that. But first of all, let's have a look at where we get started. So we're back again for Virtual Drift Championship Season 6. Very excited again to be competing in VDC, one of my favourite Virtual Drift Championships. We made some changes to the Product Academy S15, but nothing crazy, just some visual changes. We got some new wheels from our friends at 59 North Wheels. Their D001 single piece wheel looks insane on the Product Academy S15. We also made some changes to the interior with a complete refresh. Some goodies from our friends at Link ECU with their MXG Strata Dash, and some other interior pieces that really clean up the car and make it a much more nicer place to make content from. We go to Tocancipá in Colombia, a new venue for us drivers and competitors in general. Very interesting track though, very fast entry, 4th gear, clutch kick flick entry with that outer zone one with a quick transition onto the wall. This wall is not a shape that you expect it to be, it's more of like an egg shape and it's very easy to hit. As we then transition into inner clip number 5 or 4 or something like that, we have then a very quick transition again into the outside zone, which is important to maintain that wheel on the yellow line all the way to the finish and not drop any wheels off into the gravel trap. So heading into qualifying for Reese and I, my Project Academy teammate Reese unfortunately did not make the cutoff point he needed to get into the top 32. 2 mistakes from him from his 2 qualifying runs with a 78 and I believe an 81.3 or something like that, and not enough to break into the top 32, which was a bit massive disappointment considering Reese had done hours and hours. I think between the two of us we had done over 100 hours of tuning, training together, preparing for this event, and Reese coming off a fantastic viral video you might have seen with the Driftmasters crew with driving Peter Vincek's S15, and so it was a big disappointment, something that we weren't expecting. You know, we head into these events with high hopes and we generally achieve those high hopes, but obviously not the start for Reese that he would have wanted, and not the start we would have wanted for any driver really, especially after such a solid season of 2021. So heading in to qualifying for myself, I knew I had to put it all on the line. I couldn't just do an easy run, and this first qualifying run, doing what we needed to do to make sure we get a decent score on the board. Again, not driving too easy, driving committed, but one thing I want to take note from here is this transition here heading into the wall, having a bit of a wash, actually hitting the wall as well. Not really the type of transition I wanted, and it really showed to me that I'm going to have to throw it harder into the second run. So as we finish off the run, just doing what we needed to get the score on the board and filling all the zones and doing the best that we possibly can, but definitely a lot more to do here for the second run, and that is where things get very, very interesting here. Like I said, that first run, not what we wanted, especially that transition not being the greatest that we needed, but still getting us a pretty decent score of 90, so that is pretty decent. But again, we can do better, and that's what we wanted to do, transition harder into this outer wall and maintaining the proximity to the wall all the way to the end of the zone, which is perfect, almost perfect. The rest of this run could be a little bit better. I think if we had the end of the first run put onto the start of this second run, we would have actually scored a higher score of probably into the later 90s, but we're getting a 95.7 for that last run, exactly what we needed to top qualifying here for VDC round number 1. So for top 32, we got matched up with Joona Varonen from Finland, a fantastic drift pilot, a member of the OTM crew, great bunch of guys over there, OTM, and you know, Varonen, very tough battle. We've battled Varonen in the past, we've got some wins, we've got some losses, so we need to make sure that we don't take it easy. We take Joona with the utmost respect and drive as hard as possible, doing our lead runs that we'll be doing all day, that we've been doing in qualifying, that we've been doing in practice, and making sure we do the best lead run that we possibly do. It's, again, you guys have probably heard it from me enough at this point, but doing the 100-point lead run is what we need to do here. So here we go, leading in Joona, again, similar entry, kind of clipping the cones on the outside, shouldn't affect us that badly. But one thing I want to take note here, Joona hitting us on the wall, kind of making us hit the wall a tiny bit. But from this point on, Joona not really able to match our angle, and he's not really able to kind of hit us on the door hard. So I think after this, pretty decent advantage heading into the second run. But one thing I want to make clear here is that I was conscious of Yuna's entry into the first outer zone. He's not that committed. He's a very, I would say, a weak entry. It's a very kind of late entry, and it's fairly difficult to chase in ways. You know, I had a similar issue at the final Drift Masters round that I competed in, which was round number 4. You might remember that I initiated in side by side, and Yuna I didn't expect Yuna to initiate so late, which essentially made me having to avoid contact, which messed up my entry completely. A fault that upon mine, of course, something that I could have avoided if I had just paid more attention to what Yuna was doing throughout that day. And I learned from that mistake. I spent a time looking at Yuna's lead runs in qualifying, and I noticed something that, you know, again, late entry, but I can't, so which means I can't do a side-by-side initiation. So I made sure not to I suppose attack side by side like you might see me do usually, but go from a rear bumper entry, which is, in my opinion, not as fun, but it does get us the job done. And leading into this run, let's see, do we do what we need to do here? Running a rear bumper entry, tucking in nicely behind Yuna. Actually, we do it in the end, and you can see the initiation from Yuna, not the most committed, but again, look what we're doing here. We're matching his angle, and we're actually, if anything, a little bit better on the line than what he was in certain places, but just closing up on the door. We don't need to door tap him per se, but we need to get close enough so that, you know, we're actually still in the fight, and Yuna leaving the last outside line there very, very early and not really fulfilling it to the other line. So at the end of that run, we ended up getting the win, moving on into the top 16. We did exactly what we needed to do. We paid attention to what Yuna was doing throughout I suppose the day, and making sure that we learn from our mistakes from Drift Masters, and yeah, utilizing the mistakes that Yuna makes and capitalizing on them so that, you know, we can get the win. So next up, we've got Abdulrahman from JX team, a new driver, a rookie to the VDC season. So rookies, you know, we have to be careful of the rookies because we don't know what to expect to some extent. You know, they could be quite new, they could be very nervous, or they could be absolutely amazing. You know, we had a season 2019 when Ticon first entered VDC, and this guy was taking over by storm. We managed to take the win that season over Ticon, but Ticon was hot in our tails and not making it easy for us. So you have to be careful of rookies. You can't really sleep on them in VDC. But Abdul, coming from the JX team, a fantastic drift team from Saudi, and I think I got some really good runs with Abdul throughout the day. So I kind of knew what we're stacking up against. So I was fairly confident that we'd do quite well. However, our big left foot brake entry on clip 1 not the most ideal, and you could see Abdul from the chase position cutting quite a bit of line, trying to catch back up, but doing a pretty decent job nonetheless. And yeah, you know, he's right there with us. He's scraping our rear bumper on the final transition, but not really matching our angle here as we cross the finish line. Let's swap over to the second run. This time we're chasing an Abdul. And again, it's just, you know, we just need to do what we need to do here. We just need to match his angle, match, you know, what he does in the lead position, and not get, you know, sucked up on too far on the inside, and not lose too much angle in the chase position. I feel like this track is important to match angle, and that's one thing that I quite learned very quickly, especially from Yuna's battle, is that if you match the angle, it makes it super obvious that you're the dominant driver, and that's what we do in that chase position. And I think we did a fairly decent job, which allowed us to get the win and move on into the top 8. So next up, we've got my good old buddy friend from the United States of America, Zach O'Sullivan. My good friend Zach, JSI Mystified, as some people might follow him on Instagram. A great guy who loves his Tyro Supra. He's after changing to a Tyro Supra. But, you know, Zach and I, we like our banter. You know, we like having a bit of fun. We like getting cocky with each other. And this battle was kind of exactly what we wanted. He wanted to battle me, we wanted to battle each other and see who was totally the best driver. Coming off of his ESDA championship win, he's coming on here into VDC season number 2 for him, with, you know, really good momentum. The Rookie of the Year champion, man, you can't sleep on the Rookie of the Year champion. They're coming in with vengeance, and Zach coming in here, we're possibly one of the best chassis for VDC this season. I'll do a video later on as to why I feel like the S chassis has been knocked down a tad in terms of performance. But yeah, the Supra is probably one of the fastest cars on the championship right now. So everything, all eyes are on Zach this season. And heading into this battle, we got to make sure we do a pretty decent job in the lead position, like we'll be doing all day, and make sure that we in the chase position do the same thing, try and match angle and try and get that win. So leading in, we have a bit of gap over Zach here on initiation. We do a bit of a left foot brake, but nothing major. Nice transition into the outside zone here, pretty replicated of the qualifying run that we got our 95 in. Decent transition here. Zach falling behind a little. He's not really matching angle. He's not really hitting us on the door. So we're carrying good momentum, carrying good speed here. And as we transition to the final outer zone, Zach is right all over us, door to door, pretty much across the finish line. Now, things get a little interesting here to the chase position. And as you could see, I get absolutely... Oh, well, I don't get left that badly, but I have a terrible initiation. And as we transition back here, we follow... yeah, we just have a weird lag spike. You know, we were matching angle, and we have a lag spike, and we hit Zach into the wall, and he goes flying off into the grass. So not exactly the run that we kind of want, chase run that is, but I think we need to dive a little deeper and to see what happens here, as from my perspective, it was a little bit different to what the live stream saw. So I pulled out the trusty replay view, which, to be honest, replay cameras in a set of Corsair are not that accurate, and I feel like people who use replay cameras to prove their innocence as a driver, I think they're just falling on false lights, to be honest. The replay camera in AC is not that accurate. It doesn't show speed accurately, it doesn't show the brake input accurately, and it never even shows the clutch or the handbrake input at all. So it's not a very accurate tool. I wouldn't really use it as a tool to say, oh, I am right in this situation or you are wrong in the situation, but it does give us a little information about what a driver is doing, and we can use it to, I suppose, look into it a little bit more detail. So the first thing I want to take note here is that when we leave the start line chasing in Zach, is that he has a little bump of lag in the straight line. And, you know, at this point, you know, our ping is pretty decent, right? We don't have any issues with internet, but you can see he just skips forward all of a sudden, which I wasn't expecting. I think this initiation was 100% my fault, but it's this lunge forward that you don't really see from my perspective. I'm consistent proximity, but you don't really actually see, you know, Zach's car spike forward, or you don't see my car spike forward from this camera angle. Now if we just roll back a tiny bit here, I want you guys to pay attention to what happens to Zach's car. It seems to like stall, it seems to like almost stop, and at this point, you know, I saw this happening. I knew immediately when I saw this contact that it was completely my fault, right? Like, you know, the onus is on the driver that lags to be at fault for contact if there's, you know, to do with internet lag or something like that. This is, again, you know, it's down to the rules of VDC. They're just judging to the rule book, regardless even if it's Zach's lag or my lag. You know, whoever lags on their screen is the person at fault, and that's kind of a little bit unfair, but that's the beauty of virtual drifting. There's nothing you can do about that. So let's switch over to an angle from my perspective. This is the complete roof camera angle that I would have seen, and you can see there was a bit of a gap in initiation. I messed up on this first corner. Zach lunges forward through the transition, and then we'll get on the door nicely, and then it's like the car, you know, his car kind of stops a little. And again, this, you know, I feel like it's not really my internet per se. You know, I have pretty decent internet speeds, but you never know. You know, I could have some sort of packet loss or something like that I don't usually see. Zach could have a packet loss for all we know. But again, it doesn't really add up, because, you know, during the rest of the competition, other people were having similar spikes. You know, Darren Baker, another driver from Ireland, having a spike versus Ericus, and there were some other battles as well, some weird lag spikes happening. So I feel like it's a server issue. I feel like the server, there's something wrong with the server that they're using, and it's creating these situations, which is obviously not ideal. At the end of all of that, we end up losing that battle. The fault was on us for lagging, which, you know, I completely respect that call. You know, at the end of the day, we were the person on their screen that lagged forward, and, you know, at the end of the rules are rules. You know, whoever lags is the person that causes the, you know, whoever lags and causes the contact is the person that loses, and that makes perfect sense. So we will be back for round 2 of the Virtual Drift Championship on the 8th of January in 2022, creating more content like this. So make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel to stay tuned with what we do. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and we'll chat to you guys very soon. Peace.